Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our meditation session. This is the last session before our summer break. Tushita will mostly not have activities for the next 2 months in June and July, and the next meditation session will be in August. We might still have some special programs at Tushita during June and July, in which case we will inform you over WhatsApp. So welcome to this session. Let us take a moment to arrive in front of our device. We can take 3 deep breaths. Every time we inhale, we try to refresh our attention. Every time we exhale, we relax. Now let us take a look at our body posture for this session. So ideally sitting on the floor, but if you're sitting on the chair, it's also perfectly fine. Just make sure you're not leaning against the support of the chair and not leaning forward either. If you're sitting on the floor, the very best is to sit in the full lotus posture. So that means with each foot on top of the opposite leg. That might be a little bit difficult. Make sure you're not pushing your body. Make sure you are comfortable. You can simply sit cross-legged, or you can sit in a half lotus or even Burmese style with one leg in front of the other. The hands, we place them in the concentration mudra traditionally. So we have your right hand on top of the left. The 2 thumbs are slightly touching, and this mudra rests on your lap. The back is straight, the body is upright. You can imagine that there is a string pulling from the crown of your head, keeping your body upright. The shoulders are even and relaxed. Even though your body is straight, it remains flexible. You can easily turn from left to right. The neck is aligned in the continuation of the spine. You can very slightly tilt your head forward, but not much. The tongue, you can place it just behind the upper teeth towards the upper palate. This helps to reduce the production of saliva while you meditate. Finally, we don't meditate with the eyes completely closed. We leave them slightly opened. But we don't actually pay attention to what our eyes are seeing. It is the mental consciousness that meditates. So you can rest your gaze 1 or 2 meters in front of you, about 45 degrees cast down. This allows for some light to enter, keeping you alert. So this posture is known as the 7-point Buddha Vairochana meditation posture. Out of the 7 points, the most important one is for your body to be upright, for your back to be straight. Now that we looked at our body posture, let us also take a look at our mind. Let us try to generate a good motivation for this session. Thinking that I'm not doing this meditation for myself alone, but also for the benefit of others. As Lama Zopa Rinpoche often used to say, the purpose of my life is to benefit others. The purpose of my life is to liberate countless sentient beings from the vicious prison of samsara, the vicious prison of cyclic existence. the vicious prison of the mind. Recognizing that since time immemorial, since beginningless time, all sentient beings, including ourselves, have been under the sway of self-grasping ignorance. We have this misconception about reality. We apprehend all phenomena, including the self, as existing very solidly. We feel that everything in the universe exists objectively, exists inherently, intrinsically. We feel that everything exists from its own side, independently from the mind. Because of this self-grasping ignorance, we have the impression that we are the center of the universe. We feel that everything revolves around us, as if we were the hero of a movie. And therefore we feel that we are more important than others. We always give priority to ourselves. We mostly think about our own happiness. We don't consider much the happiness of others. But if we check, if we analyze, all other sentient beings, just like myself, equally want to be happy. None of them want to suffer. Besides, others are numberless. I am only one. There is absolutely no logic, no reason to think that I am more important than others. So because of this self-grasping ignorance, apprehending phenomena as existing truly, objectively, independently, inherently, intrinsically, and because of this impression that I am the center of the universe, that I'm more important than others, because of that, countless mental delusions, afflictions, disturbing emotions arise, such as anger, attachment, jealousy, pride, anxiety, depression, and so on and so forth. And all of these mental afflictions, they are pushing me to engage in all sorts of actions. Actions that are sometimes positive, but most of the time negative. Most of the time, the actions we engage in since beginningless time are non-virtues, such as killing, stealing, lying, gossiping, using harsh words or divisive speech, and so on and so forth. And every time we engage in such a negative action, it leaves a karmic imprint on our minds. And negative karma is accumulated, and eventually, at some point or the other, this karmic imprint will ripen in the form of an unpleasant experience, an experience of pain, an experience of suffering. Similarly, all the good actions we do, all the virtuous actions we do, such as helping others, practicing generosity, for example, these actions are positive, they accumulate positive karma. But these positive karmas, because they are contaminated, they are tainted by the self-grasping ignorance. When we do a good action, we apprehend ourselves, the recipient, and the action as existing solidly, as existing objectively, independently from the mind. So because of that, the positive karmas, they ripen in the form of pleasure, in the form of pleasant experiences within samsara, within cyclic existence. So this basically means that we have accumulated countless karmas in the past, and at any time, when the causes and conditions come together, any of these karmas can ripen. This is why we sometimes have pleasure, sometimes we have pain. And the thing is that we don't have control. We cannot choose when a karma will ripen. This morning, suddenly we might have, the causes, conditions coming together so that there is a big power cut, and then no more AC, no more fan, the heat from outside coming in. Similarly, a positive karma can ripen, and all of a sudden, one of our neighbors might come and give us a little bit of our favorite food, for example. So we cannot choose. And this lack of choice, this lack of control, is exactly what samsara is. Similarly, at the time of death, when it will be, when the karma of this life will finish and it will be time to pass away, I might experience, a great fear of dying, fear of losing my body, fear of be separated from my friends and family, fear of being separated from my possessions. So at that time, because this mental state of grasping and fear most likely a negative karma that I have accumulated in the past will ripen and propel me, project me into an unfortunate rebirth. So the Buddha tells us that we have been circling in all the realms of samsara since beginningless time, continuously taking rebirth in all the different realms, sometimes born as human, sometimes as an animal, sometimes as a preta, sura, asura, and so forth. Without any control, without a choice, just dictated by the karmas we have accumulated because of our afflictions that are rooted in the self-grasping ignorance. Let us try to generate a sense of compassion for ourselves and all sentient beings who are trapped in this vicious prison of the mind, who are trapped in samsara. Let us generate the wish. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering, the karma and the afflictions. More than that, let us try to generate a sense of responsibility. At the moment, we have this human body, which already that is extremely rare. We can just see, with our own eyes, the animal realm on this planet. Countless animals. Just take the number of ants on the planet. Infinite number of ants. In comparison, only about 8 billion human beings on the planet. So we can already see how rare it is. Then not only having a human body, but as well having all our mental, physical capacities, and most importantly, living in a world where the Buddha has appeared 2500 years ago. The Buddha showed us the methods, gave so many teachings for several decades, tirelessly explaining how the mind functions and how to liberate ourselves from our own mind. And the teachings of the Buddha are still very much available to this day. They are embodied by very qualified masters such as His Holiness the Dalai Lama, who are constantly, tirelessly teachings, giving us the methods to free our minds. And these teachings are very easily accessible, especially in this digital era. We can read all the sutras of the Buddha. We can listen to teachings that are recorded from His Holiness the Dalai Lama and many qualified masters. Also, there are many disciples, many followers of the Buddha's teachings who can help us understand our mind. And there are many supporters, many people who make it possible for these teachings to be available through internet and through the Dharma centers. The Dharma centers, they exist due to the generosity of so many people. So with all these conditions, we have what is called the precious human rebirth, which is extremely rare to find. In the Lamrim, there is this analogy that the precious human rebirth is as rare as for a turtle who lives at the bottom of an endless ocean and comes out every 100 years to take a breath. The precious human rebirth is as rare as for this turtle when it comes out every 100 years from the bottom of the infinite ocean to pass its neck around the ring that is floating on this endless ocean. So recognizing the fortune that we have, that all the causes and conditions came, that our positive karmas of the past ripened, we have this precious human rebirth. Let us try to generate a sense of responsibility with this precious human rebirth. I have the possibility, I have the opportunity to transform my mind, to identify the self-grasping ignorance and all the afflictions and to eliminate them. While countless other sentient beings don't have this fortune, don't have the precious human rebirth. We can easily see, among the 8 billion human beings on the planet, how many actually have this opportunity that we have. So less. Most of them too caught up in worldly pleasure, in samsaric affairs, samsaric activities. So busy, no time, no interest to look inwards. So for them, for the countless sentient beings who don't have this opportunity, let us generate a sense of responsibility. I myself will free all sentient beings from suffering and the causes of suffering. Now, how can I do that? I myself am under the sway of the afflictions. I myself am experiencing the results of the karmas I have accumulated in the past. How can I help others? How can I liberate others from samsara? First, I must liberate myself, not only from samsara, but also from the other mental veils, the cognitive obscurations, the obscurations to knowledge, the obscurations to omniscience. I must achieve the state of a fully awakened Buddha in order to know how to guide sentient beings perfectly. Let us try to generate this most beautiful mind of bodhicitta as our motivation for this session and motivation for the day by thinking, may I become a Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. With this motivation in mind, we'll now meditate on the wisdom realizing the emptiness of objective existence, of phenomena. So the Buddha tells us that the reason why we are trapped in samsara, the reason we suffer, the reason we have all the afflictions, the reason we accumulate negative karmas and contaminated positive karmas, all of this is due to the self-grasping ignorance. We apprehend all phenomena as existing truly, objectively, inherently, intrinsically, independently from the mind. So the direct opposite mind, the antidote, the liberating path, is the wisdom that realizes that all phenomena are devoid of intrinsic nature, are devoid of objective existence. The Buddha tells us that phenomena don't exist objectively, they exist subjectively. A famous quote says, "If the mirage were to be water, why not those close by the mirage see water?" You know, mirage is like if you're in a desert that is extremely dry due to the climate and the meteorological, due to the conditions. Sometimes in the desert we see as if there is a water appearing in the distance, what is called a mirage. But this is just, a visual deception, because if we go closer towards the mirage, closer to what appears as water, we come to realize that there is no water there at all. Similarly, any object, any phenomenon that looks to be existing objectively, that looks to be existing independently, solidly, inherently, if we go closer towards the object, we come to see that the object disappears, like the water disappears in the case of the mirage. If we look at any object under a microscope, for example, you can take a beautiful flower, for example, and you take it under the microscope, and you look inside, what you see from the side of the object is very different from what we see from a distance. From a distance, we see a beautiful flower that gives us a pleasant feeling. Oh, it's so beautiful. But when we look under the microscope from the side of the object, what do we see? We see the different cells. If we zoom closer, we might even see the chromosomes. And the chromosomes, they look like snakes. And when we see this, the feeling that we have is very different from when we look from a distance. We see this beautiful flower that gives us a pleasant feeling. When we look at the chromosomes, we might feel a bit scared because they look like snakes. So from any object, you might take a beautiful painting. From a distance, you see this beautiful flower that is painted. But then if you go closer to the painting, the flower disappears. Let's say this painting is printed on a low quality resolution. Then as you go closer towards the print, you don't see the flower, you see all the dots, all the pixels that compose the flower. So let us try to meditate on the emptiness of the person, the emptiness of the self. For this we'll use Arya Nagarjuna's verse in the Ratnavali that says, if the person is not earth, water, fire, wind, space, and also consciousness, and not all of those, where is the person out of those? So let us sit properly in a meditation posture and check, where is the person? Where is the truly existing person? The objectively existing person. So Nagarjuna tells us to first check in the earth element. Let us look closer at the person. Is the person the earth element? Is the person the skin, for example? Is the person the bones? Is the person the hair? Is the person the nails? All the solid elements that compose the body. So if we didn't find the person in any of these, let us discard the earth element. The person is nowhere to be found in the earth element. Then let us look at the water element. Is the person the blood? Is the person the urine or any other liquid in the body? Let us look at the fire element. Is the person the heat, the body heat? Let us look at the air element. Is the person the winds that are going around the body? Is the person the space element? Our body is mainly composed of space. Between each organ, even between each cell, between each atom that composes our body, there is space. is the person that empty space. So we looked at all the physical elements. Is the person any of these 5 physical elements? Earth, water, fire, wind, space. Didn't find the person in the 5 elements. Let's discard them. Let us look at the mind, the consciousness. Is the person the consciousness? The consciousness has no gender, but we identify ourselves as male, female, and so forth. If the person is the consciousness, if the person is the mind, then which one? We have so many consciousnesses. Is it the mind of the past? Is it our present mind? Is it the mind of the future? Is it a mind of anger? Is it a mind of jealousy? Is it a mind, a virtuous mind? Is it a mind of generosity? Which one of the consciousnesses is the truly existing person? If the person is not earth, water, fire, wind, space, and not also consciousness, let us look at the collection of all these 5 physical elements and the mind, the 6 elements. In short, let us look if the person is the collection, the congregation of the body and mind. Is the person the body and mind? If it were, why would we even need to call it person? It would already have this name, body and mind. Why would we have to add the label person? If the person was the body and mind, then at the time of death, our mind and our body will separate. Our mind will carry on, will be subject to another rebirth. This body will be discarded. So how can we say that the person is the collection of the body and mind, the collection of the 6 elements? This sense of me, this sense of person will carry on after death. As soon as I will be reborn, I will again have these thoughts of me, myself, I. So we can see that the person is also not the collection of body and mind, the collection of the 6 elements. So the person, the truly existent person, is nowhere to be found. The objectively existent person is nowhere to be found in the 6 elements individually, and in the collection of the 6 elements either. If the person is not earth, water, fire, wind, space, consciousness, not all of those, where is the person to be found out of those? Let us look outside of the elements, outside of the body and mind. We also don't find the person. Once the body and mind are discarded, we don't find any person outside of the body and mind. Let us abide for a short moment in this experience of not finding the person. In the writings of Venerable Shawara, there is a stanza saying, searching for reality throughout space, one finds not the periphery nor the center. All perceptions cease completely. Likewise, through a thorough search of mind and phenomena, one finds not even an atom of essence. Since the searching mind is not found, not seeing anything is seeing the reality. So let us reach that conclusion that the person is nowhere to be found among the 6 elements, nowhere to be found in the body and mind. The truly existent person is nowhere to be found separate from the body and mind either. Anything that is empty of being one or different from its parts is necessarily empty of objective existence. If there was a truly existing person, objectively existing person, it would necessarily be one or different from the body and mind, from the elements, from its parts. We didn't find a person, the truly existing person, in any of the 6 elements, in the collection of the 6 elements, and outside of the elements. Therefore, the person is empty of existing objectively. The person is empty of existing independently. Gently come out of the meditation and let us dedicate the merits that we have accumulated in this session by trying to analyze emptiness, trying to generate bodhicitta, so that we may soon, very soon, achieve the state of full awakening, reach the state of a Buddha, in order to benefit countless sentient beings without leaving even one behind. May the precious minds of bodhicitta and the wisdom realizing the emptiness of objective existence, may these precious minds that have not yet arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen never diminish but increase forevermore. Due to all our merits, may our spiritual guides have long and healthy lives, and in particular may His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the true source of joy and happiness on this earth, may he live very long and healthy, and may he continue to teach us the Dharma of Buddha Shakyamuni for a very long time. Due to all our merits, may the spiritual director of Tushita, the spiritual director of the whole Foundation for the Preservation of the Mahayana Tradition, Kyabje Lama Zopa Rinpoche, who showed the aspect of passing away last year, may he soon come back in a fresh body to continue to teach us and to guide the organization. Finally, due to all our merits, may the wars that are happening around the world immediately come to an end. May there be no new war, may there be no famine, may there be no epidemic, may there be no financial problems, may there be no catastrophes of the elements and natural disasters. May peace and harmony prevail in everyone's hearts and lives. May the Dharma of Buddha Shakyamuni last for a very long time. And may we personally never be separated from perfectly qualified masters such as His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. And we will see you after the summer break in August. In the meantime, we might have some programs happening at Tushita in the case of visiting teachers who are passing through Delhi, in which case we will inform you on our WhatsApp group. You can easily join the WhatsApp group if you go to tushitadelhi.com. Towards the bottom of the page, there is a link where you can join our announcement group, where you'll find, you will receive all informations about what is happening at Tushita. See you soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.